clock struck midnight, and a soft winter chill filled Pune's Chinchwad railway station, which now stood nearly deserted. The Mumbai-Pune Express, typically running between these two cities, was running 3 hours behind schedule. Most travelers had already left, choosing other modes of transport. However, Jatin remained on the platform, still waiting for the delayed train. It seems I'm the only one left here, but after an exhausting day, I don't have the energy to look for another option. Once the train arrives, I'll head to Mumbai, he thought while scanning the empty platform. A few beggars were sleeping under the stairs of the footover bridge. Suddenly, one of them approached Jatin and questioned, "What are you still doing here at this hour? No train is coming anytime soon." "The Mumbai-Pune Express is about to arrive. It's 3 hours late," Jatin responded. "That train? And you're traveling on it this late? Be cautious. Don't talk to strangers." Something about the beggar's cryptic words made Jatin uneasy. He gazed at the man, almost entranced. Lost in thought, he didn't even realize when the train finally pulled into the station. Before he could react, the departure signal blared, and the train's horn echoed as it began to move. Jatin was the only passenger boarding from that station. As the train gained speed, he hurriedly climbed onto the last coach just in time. Looking back, he saw the beggar still standing there, his expression holding an eerie, knowing smile. Breathless from his sudden rush, Jatin stood near the door, allowing himself a moment to calm down. Then he moved to an empty seat, shut his eyes, and drifted into thought. The cold night air seeping in through the window offered a strange sense of peace. But suddenly he became aware of something. Someone was breathing heavily nearby. Alarmed, he opened his eyes. No one was there. The entire compartment was empty. The Mumbai-Pune Express, usually packed to the point where standing room was scarce, now felt hauntingly vacant. A discomforting unease settled within him. Jatin stood up, glancing around. His eyes landed on a man seated near the opposite door. A sense of relief washed over him. At least he wasn't entirely alone. He approached and took a seat nearby. The man looked at Jatin, giving him a peculiar smile. His eyes, however, held an unsettling emptiness. Perhaps the train is empty because it's running late, Jatin reasoned with himself. Yet the man continued to stare in silence. This only made Jatin more uneasy. Closing his eyes again, he tried to ignore the discomfort, but a growing restlessness crept in. Peering out the window, he noticed something strange. Despite traveling for a long while, the train hadn't stopped at a single station. "What are you looking at?" the man suddenly asked. Jatin jumped slightly. "Why hasn't the train stopped anywhere yet?" A faint smirk appeared on the stranger's lips. "I know what you're thinking. No station is going to come. You've boarded the wrong train." "That's impossible. This is the right train," Jatin argued. "If that's true, then why is this compartment empty? Why didn't anyone else board?" Jatin's confidence wavered. He rushed to the door, looking outside. There was nothing but pitch-black darkness. There was no visible way to move to another compartment either. Feeling helpless, he returned to his seat. He lifted his gaze toward the stranger again. His breath caught in his throat. The man's head was crushed, blood seeping from the wound, his eyes grotesquely dislodged from their sockets. Jatin's body froze in terror. He tried to move to escape, but the man drew closer. Pressing himself against the door, Jatin shut his eyes tightly. Suddenly, he felt a hand on his shoulder. Heart pounding, he opened his eyes. The man was standing there as if nothing had happened. "What's wrong? Why are you screaming?" the man asked. Jatin stammered. "But your face, it was covered in blood just now." "Oh, that. Perhaps an illusion caused by an old injury I suffered years ago." "Years ago?" Jatin echoed. "Yes, nearly 20 years back, I was traveling on this very train. That night, just like now, it was delayed. When I boarded, only a couple of other passengers were on the platform. A group of drunk men got on behind me. The train was mostly empty, yet they began arguing with me over a seat. The dispute escalated, and they ended up throwing me out of the moving train. My head struck an electric pole, blood pouring from my skull as I tumbled onto the tracks. Before I could even react, another train came roaring over me. Since that night, I've been wandering through this train, searching for those men, but I never found them." A sorrowful expression shadowed the man's face. Jatin let out a nervous laugh. "That's quite a story, but if a train ran over you, you wouldn't be standing here today." The man's lips curled into a chilling smile. Who said I'm alive? I died that night. Jatin's pulse raced. That's a horrible joke. I don't appreciate such things, he snapped, turning his gaze out the window, desperately hoping for the next station. Yet the train continued moving, never slowing down. You can wait forever, but this train won't stop, the man murmured. As he spoke, his appearance started to shift. The injuries reappeared, his face once again grotesque. Horrified, Jatin reached for the emergency chain and yanked it. But instead of halting, the train jolted violently, sending him crashing to the floor. The man stepped closer. Jatin panicked. I don't even know you. What do you want from me? Just let me go. The man leaned in, droplets of his blood falling onto Jatin. Just as Jatin thought his heart might stop from sheer terror, the man unexpectedly stepped back. Can you help me? The ghost asked. Jatin, trembling, barely found his voice. I will do anything. Just don't harm me. The ghost's expression shifted. I need peace. Can you grant me that? Peace. But how? Jatin whispered. His mind reeled. This train, this endless night, and everything he was experiencing felt like a nightmare he couldn't wake up from. The ghost's voice grew solemn. This train has been running since that night. Every time a new traveler boards, and the cycle repeats. Only you can break it. You are the last passenger who has a chance to leave. Jatin's mind raced. Was he about to be trapped in this train forever? You can free me, the ghost continued, but at a cost. You must take my place. If you wish to leave, you must become the passenger who dies in every journey. That is the only way you will be free. But your journey will end here. Jatin's fear deepened. No station was ahead. The train showed no signs of stopping. The weight of the ghost's words pressed against him. Time is running out. Choose. Either set me free and take my place, or this train will claim you next. Jatin had two choices: become another spirit of this train, or free the ghost at the cost of his own fate. Gathering the last of his courage, Jatin took a final look outside. But there was only endless darkness. The rhythmic clatter of the train tracks fused with the frantic beating of his heart. His mind turned numb. Slowly, he faced the ghost. All right, I will free you. The moment Jatin uttered those words, the train abruptly halted. A cold wind filled the compartment. The ghost gave one last smile before gradually dissolving into the air. You are now the train's new passenger. Someday someone will free you too, he whispered. Jatin remained standing. The train doors had opened, but he understood. He would never leave. At the next station, a new passenger would step aboard. And someday that traveler would bear the cost of his release. The train started moving again. But now Jatin knew. This journey had no end. Only the wait for the next passenger.